Welcome here to this special edition of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Always happy to be here with you where sports meets life. And of course, you are with us on many different outlets, and we thank you for tuning in here with us. You can grab Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, Podbean, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Audible, as well as MixLR and company. So we thank you for being here with us, and I'm very happy to have back on the show on the heels of his commitment to play college football in the future here, 2023 defensive lineman and tight end Matt Scicchitano, who is here with us from Mount Carmel in Pennsylvania, the winningest program in the history of Pennsylvania when it comes to high school football. So Matt's here with us. It's the first interview he has done since committing to Coastal Carolina and the Chanticleers. So I am honored and privileged to make history with Matt today. Matt, how you doing?
Hey, absolutely. I'm very excited to be back on the show. And yeah, you got that correct. It's my first interview since the commitment, so I'm excited to do it here.
Absolutely, and I thank you for that. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to make history with you and being a part of it. How have you, I know you put out a post, but how have you stayed quiet since committing and not really, done much? I know you said you're kind of like a to-yourself person, and you said I'm kind of like I want to post it, and that's it. Have you always been kind of that like close to the vest type of person?
Yeah, I'm a kid, everyone getting recruited to kids, so, they obviously getting a little bit of attention, committing and all that, but, yeah, I didn't want to commit and make it, a real big deal. I kind of just want to, write a nice little thing, thanking everyone, making the post, to edit that Coastal made for me, and, yeah, that's pretty much it. I kind of just want to keep it simple, and I didn't, wait too long. It was about one day after the visit when I posted it. So, I made a few phone calls, and I felt like the time was right. So, posted it and, made it known that I was committed.
And I thought it was interesting, speaking here with Matt Scicchitano, who is heading off to Coastal Carolina, 2023 defensive lineman and tight end, coming out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania. So, Matt, what did they tell you about where they want you at Coastal? Could they look at you being a hybrid guy? Could you bounce from offense to defense at some point, or are they really specific about where they want you to be?
Well, they offered me as a offensive lineman, tight end, and a defensive lineman, but I committed as a defensive lineman. Okay. And they run kind of like a 3-4 defense, and they bring an outside linebacker down sometimes, but they particularly looking at me as, a 4-eye technique, which is basically like a defensive tackle, shaded inside of the offensive tackle. Or if my body develops, they obviously don't want to see how my body develops, but they said possibly nose too. So basically just interior defensive line is the spot I'm looking at right now.
And are you okay with that? Is that what you wanted? Would you ever look at doing something else there? Like you said, they recruited you in multiple positions, so would you ever be open to changing, or do you feel like interior defensive lineman is where you're going to be best served in college?
Well, that's a good question. Them and myself, I think that my potential is at the highest as an interior defensive lineman, just how my body's developed. I've gotten heavier, stronger. I think my body and my play style kind of suits the interior defensive line best, offensive and defensive wise. So, and I talked with their coaches, and they agreed with me. So it kind of made my decision easier, and I absolutely love it. It's definitely my favorite position to play. I'm open to playing anywhere if I go there, and I'm not doing what they want me to do at defensive line. They want me to move to offensive line or tight end. I'd be more than happy to.
And that coming here from Matt Scicchitano on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Matt, you and I, in discussing when you were on the show the first time, that you had gotten to a top 3, in no specific order, of Temple, Coastal Carolina, and Syracuse. You went to visit Temple from June 15th to the 17th, went to Coastal from the 17th to the 19th, and then you were supposed to come to Syracuse on June 24th. What did it at Coastal that made you commit while you were there and not even take the official visit to Syracuse? Because you got to your top 3. You and I were talking about, I'm going to go on these officials, and then I'm going to make a decision after. What prevented you from coming up to Syracuse? What was it about Coastal Carolina that you're like, I just can't wait?
Yeah, so that's a good question again, because I've been asked that question a lot. And it's kind of hard to exactly explain. I kind of just had that gut feeling, like a heavy gut feeling that Coastal was the place. And, I'll start from Temple. Of course, I absolutely loved it. The coaches, kind of the culture they were building, because it's their first year. And, but the thing is, like, I couldn't really see myself in a city. And, obviously Syracuse isn't really, I wouldn't really consider them a city campus because I've looked online a little bit, but just kind of the place where Coastal's at, they're right by the beach. It's real nice weather there year round. And of course, that's not the only thing. I'm not just going off location. Their coaches have been there roughly like 5 years, like the head coach and his like the position coaches and all, and that's something you rarely see in college football. And, you really want to see it in really good programs because, so they've also been really good. They're 22-3 the past 2 years. They obviously had that historical season, where they beat BYU. I think their upcoming program, they've had pretty much every single one of their commits had Power 5 offers, and they committed there over to Power 5. And when I went out with their players, I absolutely loved it and got along with the players really well, and I fit into their program really well, and I couldn't see myself anywhere else. Like, really, I didn't even want to waste any time. I just felt like committing, so I went with my gut feeling and committed, and I'm extremely happy about it. No doubts in my mind.
And I was going to ask you that, like, is there anything that you were sad about, or kind of like, let's stick with you a little bit, that you didn't go up to Syracuse for an official?
No, because I get it, their Power 5 program. They've been, if I'm gonna be honest, they haven't been, the best program in the country. And I guess I could say it. I was kind of worried about even like getting involved with them. Like, if I committed and say they don't have the best season, their coaches get fired, you kind of have to have the recruiting process start all over again. And it kind of I just didn't want to have to deal with that. So, of course, I would have loved to visit and see what it's all about. And but I wouldn't change my decision if I had to go back in time. I'm very happy with my decision.
And that coming from Matt Scicchitano, coming out of Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, the winningest high school program for football in the state of Pennsylvania, and heading off to the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina as a defensive lineman on the interior side of things. So, like you said, their record in Coastal Carolina has been phenomenal in history here and in the Sun Belt Conference. Now, the Sun Belt, with all this realignment and all these different things going on, the Sun Belt was one of those conferences that wants to rival. And I know I cover the American Athletic very heavily. I know they're doing a lot of work. And the Sun Belt Conference that Coastal Carolina's in is trying to do the same thing. They're putting in a lot of good work here to stay competitive in the grand scheme of things and make sure that in realignment that they're going out and grabbing teams as opposed to losing teams. So their conference is getting bigger. What do you think about the Sun Belt Conference as a whole? And besides Coastal Carolina, is there anything about, the competition that they play that you're really excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. Coastal's rival, Appalachian State, historically they've been very, very good. They have a lot of teams, Louisiana, Appalachian State, like I said. They have a lot of good teams that are, very, consistently ranked. And a lot of good rivalries, a lot of good teams. And the Sun Belt Conference is definitely, just as a whole, I feel like on the rise. They're getting a lot better recruits. They're being a lot more competitive with some good Power 5 programs. And, Coastal Carolina specifically has a lot of, future schedule has a lot of good Power 5 schools that they're going to face, that I feel like they can definitely prove themselves as a just has a really, really good solid program, and that the nation, the whole country can finally just see that.
Yeah, we've gotten to see, Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, what they've been able to do in recent history. Coastal Carolina, as well as Appalachian State, has played spoiler to a bunch. So, there is talent in here that's been ranked in the nation's top 25, including Louisiana most recently here, and App State and Coastal Carolina has been ranked in the nation's top 25. Going to a program that loses so seldomly and wins so much of the time and is going into the postseason, undefeated. Just what that means to you. Temple's a program that wins, but every couple of years they've been changing their coach, and they went from Steve Adazio, who's now at Texas A&M with the offensive line. Then they had Matt Rule, who's now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers after going through Baylor. Then they had Jeff Collins, who's now the head coach of Georgia Tech. Then they had Rod Carey, who was let go. So there's been a lot of turnover in Temple. And like you said, in Syracuse, there has been, this world of, and now Dino's stepping into year number 7, but the record, there's only been one winning season, one bowl game, and a concern of not an if, but a when maybe Syracuse would make a change based on the fact that things haven't really consistently gotten better. So you look at Temple going through consistent change, the notion that Syracuse might do the same. And so for you at Coastal, what can you say about that? Because you're going to Coastal Carolina, you're going to a winning program, you're going to a consistently successful program, a program that's ranked in the nation's top 25. They've made it into the top 25 in the college football playoff rankings in the last couple of years. So even though they're not given the respect that maybe they deserve when it comes to overall, because they're not in the Power 5, quote unquote, what does it mean to you to go to Coastal and know that of the 3 that you had in your top 3, they've won more games sometimes than Temple and Syracuse combined?
You've said it perfectly. Kind of just a big thing is consistency. They've had the same coaches. They've been ranked the last 3 years. They've won a bowl game. They've won Sun Belt championship. And they've been getting the change they've made from 4 years ago when they went to the FBS until now. They can only get higher. In terms of respect and winning games, and like Temple and Syracuse, Temple, they've had some coaching changes, a lot, I would say, actually. And that's always concerning as a recruit. And in Syracuse, like you said, one winning season, one bowl game out of the 7 years, their head coach has been there. And that's a huge factor. So I would definitely say that just the fact that Coastal is consistently a really, really good program, probably one of the top programs in Sun Belt Conference, consistently ranked, that was huge for me, and that definitely played a part of my decision.
What do they tell you, Matt, about the opportunity to get on the field right away? What does it look like, and from what you know about who's coming back and how the depth chart is, what has the coaching staff said to you, and what research have you done about the opportunity to potentially play right away?
Yeah, so I did ask the coach that, and he basically said, it's very hard to tell this early. They might have guys who go to the NFL, go professional somewhere. But basically, they don't redshirt their kids automatically like a lot of schools do. So I would just have to get up there, see how I play, of course, how I do, how I could, help the team win. And, that's pretty much it, because it's really, really hard to tell at my position, where I'm at with the program as far as how much I can help them win. So I would have to see when I go down there, because I'm enrolling early, so I would probably know by the start of spring ball where I'm at.
And so you said you're enrolling early, so you'll be there in January of 2023. How important was it for you to enroll early and be there for spring ball as opposed to coming in the summer and just having fall camp? How vital is it for you and your story? And were you always, even before you committed, were you always looking to enroll early wherever you decided to go?
Yeah, so that actually plays along in the last question of playing early. Enrolling early, getting up there in January, that plays a huge factor. you're with the team, you're getting weight training in, you're basically just a part of the program like any other player for 6 months earlier than any other players of the class of 2023. So definitely gives you a huge advantage, and it's an advantage that, of course I'm going to take that opportunity. And I have made the decision to do that before I committed. I've talked to the coaches about it. They're real happy about it. So, and I'm excited. I think it'll definitely help me in terms of playing early, and it'll just help me overall, my college career.
Matt's words to me the day he committed, a quote, "As soon as I got to see the culture and the environment that Coastal Carolina has, I knew this is where I wanted to be." And went on to say from there, the coaches have been together for many, many years, and that is something you don't see often. They have a special program, and I saw myself fitting in right away. I didn't want to waste any time in my recruiting, so I did what I felt was right, and I committed on the last day of my visit, end quote. You said that you feel yourself fitting in right away. What is it about Coastal that makes you feel like your special skill set is going to fit like a puzzle piece, so to speak, at Coastal Carolina?
Well, I mean, their defensive line and their defense in general, they like their guys, fast. The way they slant their defensive linemen, they like them fast, strong, of course, have the size. And they kind of play with an underdog mentality, and that's a big thing with me. I feel like I've been a little under-recruited, and that's how a lot of the people are there too. They feel the exact same way, but now they're proving everyone wrong, and they're winning games. That's how the past couple of years have been. They're surprising people. They're winning bowl games, and now they're on the top now, and in everyone's rankings, and they have a lot to prove. And it's definitely something that I feel like I fit in with, and I want to be a part of, and just help prove everyone wrong, and keep winning, keep adding to the culture of the program, the winning culture, and all that.
Matt, before I let you go, why do you think you were under-recruited? What was it in your recruitment that you were hearing or not hearing? I mean, what can you attribute to that? I mean, a little chip on your shoulder, big chip on your shoulder, right, that you didn't get the love that maybe you felt like you worked really hard for. So why do you feel like you were under-recruited, and what do you want to say to those places that did not recruit you?
Well, of course, I'm very, very thankful for the opportunities I've had, and of course, I'm absolutely thankful that everything turned out the way it did. I would never want to change anything, go back in time. I wouldn't change anything I did. I wouldn't change how anything turned out. I'm extremely happy at Coastal. Of course, I feel like everything happened for a reason, but in terms of why I feel like I was under-recruited, I feel like Power 5 programs, they get their guys early, and I got into the recruitment process pretty late because my freshman year I was like 180 pounds, so I didn't see the field. I had no tape. And our sophomore year, our season got canceled, so I didn't have any freshman or sophomore tape. And as a 15, 16-year-old kid, you're not playing. I had no vision of myself playing college football. But I didn't really do anything. I didn't lift hard. I didn't eat right. I didn't see any future in football. So that was like pretty much my whole life up until maybe like the winter, going in my junior year. I kind of realized, I was gifted at least with size and natural strength. So I decided to give it a shot, lift hard, and honestly, lifting hard definitely kind of showed me hard work paid off, and I really saw a future for myself after that because I got really strong, kind of got ahead of everyone, and I just saw myself, having a good career in college football, and of course, good opportunity. They pay for your tuition and all that, so that was a good thing. And then, I feel like I had a really good junior season. And to go back to the question of why I was unrecruited, I kind of played the season at, a little light of a weight, 245, 250, which for a defensive tackle, it's pretty light. So that's another thing. But yeah, so kind of just sum all that up. Got into the recruitment process late. Worked my tail off, but sometimes you just got to have things happen at the right time, and it wasn't exactly at the right time for me. So a lot of Power 5 schools already had their commits by the time I was getting recruited. So that's kind of how that went. But I'm very thankful that everything played out the way it did. So I found myself at Coastal Carolina, my future, and I'm just very happy.
Now, coming from Matt Scicchitano here with us, defensive lineman coming in, plays defensive line as well as on the offensive side of the ball at tight end, and coming out of Mount Carmel, PA for 2023, enrolling early in January of 2023. As some final notes here, you mentioned the football staff at Coastal Carolina being consistent and being successful. Head coach Jamie Chadwell, just your thoughts on Coach Chadwell, as well as if you've built a relationship yet with your defensive line coach, Skylar McGee, and just what your take is on the coaching staff.
Man, they were a huge part in my recruiting process. I mean, I talked to them like every day before I even went up and visited there. And, Coach Chadwell, Coach Skylar, or Coach McGee. And, when I got there, I just connected, bonded with them really well. I love the way they coach. I love the way, they just run their team, building a culture, a family culture. And just got along with them real well. They explained to me real well about my future there, and that's pretty much it. Like, they were like the perfect coaches. They've been there for a while. They envisioned themselves being there for a while. That's all it took for just me to make my decision.
So you're going to be a part of Teal Nation. What do you want to say to Teal Nation and to, a very interesting field, an awesome logo, a very unique name? You don't hear Chanticleers anywhere else. So just what you could say about what it means to you to be in a very uniquely put together Teal Nation, and what you want to say to those fans.
Yeah, so if I had to say something to them, I would just say that, obviously if they've been a fan for the past couple of years, they've seen just how far the program has come. I mean, if you went across the college football, fan base, they probably, like 3 or 4 years ago, they wouldn't be able to tell you who Coastal Carolina was or what a Chanticleer was or identify them by their colors. But, after winning some big games, becoming ranked every year, they're a nationally known team, and they're the only team in the nation that I can think of that wears teal, that has a Chanticleer as their mascot or whatever. So, and just overall, they're a very unique team, just their play style, the guys they have, and I'm excited to be a part of it and keep that tradition and culture, moving, keep the culture and everything like that, and the winning season, keep growing it. Sky's the limit. They're getting major recruits that are committing over Power 5. That's a big deal. Shows a real big change in the program. It's on the rise, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
That coming from Matt Scicchitano here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Matt, being by the beach, I know you said it doesn't have everything to do with it, but it's a totally different environment than your other top 3 teams that you had. So just what you could say about that side of it and what life's going to be like to go to college, right? Go to school, be a student athlete, and when you want to go on vacation, you got to drive a couple miles as opposed to, across the country.
Yeah, that actually reminded me of a really good thing that Coach Chadwell told me. So basically, if you take away football, you're going to be at college 10 to 12 months that you're there. So would you enjoy being at the environment, being, just around the people, the place, the school? And I was just like, you know what, if I would go here without playing football, to be honest. So being by the beach, being by the, all the guys down there, like I said, I connected with them real well. And a lot of the people, just, people that don't play football, talk to professors, I just loved everything about it. And like I said, if I took away football, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the entire country. So definitely a huge thing that's by the beach and in a great place.
So I guess now the question is, Matt, when should I come down to see the Coastal Carolina? I've never seen a Coastal Carolina game live, so when should I be coming down to see my guy Scicchitano play?
That'd be awesome. You live in Syracuse, right?
Up in New York, yep.
Yeah, okay. So I'm thinking I was looking at the future schedule. My sophomore year, they play at Temple, I'm pretty sure. So that'd be a good game to get to. If you want to get to a real big game, it's a little bit of a drive, but my sophomore year, they also play at South Carolina. That'd be a huge game. So, and it's hard because they don't have their full schedules out for the future games, but I'm sure there'll be a lot that are close. So, if you were ever to come to a game, you got to let me know. That'd be awesome.
I gotta get a Scicchitano jersey. That's all I know. I gotta make sure we make that happen. Do you know what number you want to wear?
Oh, I want to wear 99.
Okay, all right. Did they tell you have it? Does somebody have it right now? What's 99 status?
Ooh, I didn't ask him that, but I'm sure probably they're gonna, like, if an older guy has it, then they're probably gonna give it to the older guy. But as I become older part of the team, I'm sure they'll give me 99. At least I hope. But it doesn't play too much of a factor for me. 99, 98, 97, all good numbers, but something just hits different about that 99. So that's what I'm hoping to get at some part of my career there.
Yeah, well, it's a number that... Now, what's the significance of 99 to you?
It's just like a clean look for a defensive lineman. It's my favorite player, J.J. Watt, wore it. I kind of like to think of myself as, like, I play kind of like J.J. Watt. I'm not as much of an edge rusher, but, just in terms of the play style. But I just love 99. It's a cool defensive number, just to put it simply.
Coming from Matt Scicchitano, getting ready for Coastal Carolina, heading there for early enrollment in January of 2023. And this is your exclusive first conversation with Matt Scicchitano since committing to Coastal Carolina. We got to make history and do it here on Wake Up Call only because Matt's awesome and gave me the blessing of doing that. So with that being said, welcome to the Chanticleers, welcome to Coastal Carolina, and for all of you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in the Cafe Kubal studios, we implore you to stay with us on mixlr.com, facebook.com, and youtube.com, all /Wake Up Call DT, every Monday through Friday, live from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Then we go to Podbean, MixLR's archive, as well as Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Audible, and your Google and Alexa-powered devices will also play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So, Matt, thank you for making history. Thank you for giving me the honor of doing this. And I could not be happier for you. And I gave you my word when you do your signing day, I would love to find some way to do something with you and be there for the festivities. And I'm a man who keeps my word. So if you still want me to be there, we just got to make sure we get that nice, clean Chanticleer hat so you can look nice on that day. And we'll make sure we do something fun on your signing day.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to thank you for having me on here, twice. It was definitely an honor. I absolutely love doing this interview. And let's stay in touch. I have your number, follow you on all social medias. So when signing day comes, I'll definitely be hitting you up, see if you can come down. I'd love that. So thank you.